Okay, well, it's welcome time to geography, and I trust that you're having a good time. It's time away from everything, and I want to go over some things so that you can do the work that you're assigned and finish out this study of world geography. The material that I've given on the sheet that you have will remind you that we are going to be working in chapter 18, which is the chapter that you had begun over the spring break, and then also doing chapter 19. Now let me just say at the beginning, there's a lot of material here, particularly in chapter 19, as we move on into Africa. And there are more chapters than this in the book that deal with Africa. We're just going to be looking at southern and eastern Africa. Let me remind you that you need to turn in if you do not turn it in on the 6th, Monday the 6th, then you need to turn in the material on Wednesday, April 15th for Mediterranean or Eastern Mediterranean Eastern Mediterranean. Again, if you don't turn these in, then you will not be getting a grade for that. You have the map that I gave you on the Eastern Mediterranean. Make sure that that has been done well and turned in. I'm also giving you maps in this packet for South Africa and East Africa, two of the divisions of the continent of Africa. Again, there are a lot of countries here, and perhaps countries you're not really very familiar with. So it makes it a little difficult, and I know we can't go over it in class in terms of talking about these countries and pronouncing the names of their capitals and etc. But I do want you to become familiar with them, okay? So I'm giving you two maps to do. On the back of the map, just as we've always seen, do questions 1, 2, and 3. Numbers 1, 2, and 3 on the back of each of the maps. Make sure you do these well, and don't forget how much I like neatness and color when you do the maps. So just don't scribble them out. Take your time, do them well, because your grade on these maps are going to be more important than the grades on the maps you've done before. You can remember before they've been considered quizzes, but because we need sufficient material to grade you on, these maps will carry more weight. So be sure and do them correctly, and make sure then the maps are turned in. So there's two maps on South and East Africa, and if you hadn't turned in the Eastern Mediterranean, you need to do that one as well. Number 3 on the sheet that I gave you says write all countries and capitals in both chapters. That's chapter 18 and in chapter 19, 10 times, and memorize them. Now I know you're sitting there thinking, well, that's crazy, he'll never know whether I memorize them or not. No, I probably won't, but I want you to become familiar with the names of these countries, their locations as you do your maps, and their capitals. Their capital cities are, in almost every case, the most important area of the country. Much of these countries are very poor, and the areas in the outlying areas away from the capital cities are very rural. But these are the centers, and I think they're important for you to know as you study Africa. I'm asking you to write them 10 times. Again, I know how you do these things. You just scribble them through, but perhaps by looking at them and writing them time and time again, you become familiar with them. Make sure you turn in the writings of the countries and capitals, and there are many, so you better get started on that right away. You're also to read all the sections of both chapters and do the section quizzes and have those ready to be turned in. Again, mark them, label them, so I know what chapter and what page number the section questions are on, so that I can give you grades for that. In addition to that, I've made out study guides for both chapters 18 and 19. Make sure that you take time as you go through the text, find the correct answers. Most of these are easy to find. They're pretty much in the order that they're given to you in the textbook. And just to help you to think and to reinforce some important things in the study of these countries. Okay, so there's a number of questions on chapter 18, and then there's a number of questions on chapter 19 for you to do. Okay, now if you do those things and turn them in as you should make probably a better grade than you've been making. So work hard, stay with it, don't get discouraged. Hopefully we'll see you in a couple weeks. Remember, all these things are due on Wednesday, April 15th. So make sure you get everything in, because I'll be checking carefully and determining how much work you've accomplished while you've been on your own. Have a good day.